Hi guys, welcome back to a very special video. Today it is 1 year since we moved into our home after such a long time of trying to buy. You know, I documented it, the highs, the lows, the roller coaster, and it's been a whole year. So I thought I would do a video all about the things that we've learned along the way to becoming homeowners as first-time buyers, the things that we would have done differently, the financial side of it, so mortgages, deposits, and the tips that we've learned along the way as well, so that if you are trying to buy a house as well, or even trying to move up the ladder, or just interested in our own home buying journey, because as I said, it was a roller coaster and we've learned so much along the way. Hopefully it's helpful for you. So grab yourself a pencil and a piece of paper to get some notes written down, because I used to watch these videos all the time when we were trying to buy, just to get the tips and the information and sort of like the advice from people that have done it along the way when it comes to the things that they've learned on the process. So I really hope you enjoy the video. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe and give the video a like if you did enjoy it. It really does help other people find it. So a caveat, as always, whatever I talk about in this video is not financial advice. It's just my own opinion and how we have sort of navigated this on our own to learning how everything works. And in fact, I've done two videos of the step-by-step process of how to buy a house, what to expect financially and things like that. So there are other videos, I will link them in the description bar for you. Part of this video is very kindly sponsored by Moneybox. I'm going to talk to you about how their Lifetime ISA is a fantastic way of helping you get on the property ladder. So I'll be sharing some links in the description for Moneybox, and I'll be talking about them further into the video. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Before we start, I'd absolutely love to know if you are currently trying to buy a home, what is it like out there? Have prices dropped? Have they kept going up insanely? Have you had a really long, sort of lengthy process in terms of how long it takes to buy the house with exchanging? What's it like? I haven't really been studying the market since we bought, purely because obviously we're so happy here, and frankly I don't want to know if our house has dropped in value, because just don't want to know that information. It doesn't matter because we're not going anywhere. So obviously it only really matters if you do want to sell your house or need to sell your house. But I'd love to know in the comments, because there's so many of you guys that were following along with our journey. I'm also going to talk about the emotional side of things and then more like the financial, logical side of things as well. So yeah, I hope there's going to be lots of different things, and get involved in the comments as well, because I do love to hear about your journeys and how you're finding things. But if you are going through it, you know how much I documented our own journey, and it is really, really hard. Emotionally, it's stressful and it can really bring you down. So if you're going through that, if that's how you're feeling at the moment, I just want to give you like a big virtual hug to say it will be okay, it will work out. We've been in here a year. It's gone so quickly, and yeah, we did it, and you can do the same. So when we first moved in, the main feelings I had was that firstly, it felt like we were just visiting, like we were in an Airbnb, because our things were all in different cases. You don't know where anything goes, you don't know where anything lives. It was all a little bit sort of surreal, very surreal. And I also thought that someone was sort of going to come in and say, right, it's time to leave now, you need to give our house back. And that took quite a while to get used to the fact that it is what was ours and it wasn't going to get taken away. And obviously with the unpacking everything, that takes ages as well. So it's just like, don't immediately feel like you should feel at home, I guess is the message, because for me it did take a little while to get used to it. And I think most of that was because I was so worried that someone was going to take it away from us. I'm so grateful. I'm constantly, obviously I talk about it here all the time, and just constantly sort of, I'll be sat having a coffee in the morning and I just look up at the Velux and I just think, I'm so lucky to be here, I'm so grateful. So yeah, that has maintained even now, a year in, just that gratitude and sort of non-belief really that it actually happened. And then we went through all of that, and it does feel like a blur. I think when you first look at the numbers, it's very, very scary to think you're gonna have this huge debt, but it does become quite sort of, it's just a number. It doesn't really feel like this huge debt. It just feels like a monthly payment at the moment. So I will talk about the money side of things in a minute, but yeah, I think that's sort of one of the big things. It just becomes very natural after a little while, but it does take a little while to get there. So with the financial side of things, just some sort of tips that I've learned, and also ways in which to save as well, because obviously that's a massive part about saving for a house to get your deposit. So financially, things to sort of look out for or to know about. For us personally, it took about 6 months to get back on our feet financially, because everything we owed came into this house because of various different, expenses, which I'll get onto in a minute of what to expect. But yeah, I just remember thinking like, I'm still so broke and we've been in here ages. But that's kind of okay, because as much as you have things to pay for the house, I didn't want to go anywhere. I just wanted to be here, and I still love doing that now, just being here. So we weren't really spending money on things either. But yeah, just to make sure you have enough backup in your bank to cover, living expenses while you get back on your feet financially, because it literally cleared us out. So as you know, it took years and years, way more than I documented, to save for our deposit. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the best places to put your deposit while you're saving. And one of the things I've learned over the years is that saving your money in a current account is it's never going to grow. It's never going to sort of mature or work for you financially, especially with inflation. It sort of devalues your money by having it in the bank. And as I said, part of the video is really kindly sponsored by Moneybox. Setting up a lifetime ISA with a provider like Moneybox is a fantastic way of making your money work for you, because you'll get 25% back on the money that you save. So every £100 you save, you'll get £25 back from the government, up to £1,000 per tax year. So it's helping you save because it's actually giving you free money. This will help you get on the ladder faster because it is essentially giving you free money for your savings. Moneybox also have the highest interest rate on the market for their cash lifetime ISA. It's really, really easy to set up an account with them, and you can see visibly how close you are to getting to your goal as well. The Moneybox app is a one-stop shop for your personal finances, not just for their lifetime ISA account though. They also have 4 key services: saving, investing made easy, home buying, or you can even consolidate all your old pensions with Moneybox. They really make it easy to get you started with your money goals if you're feeling a bit bamboozled, as many of us do. T's and C's do apply with a lifetime ISA though. So for example, there's a 450k limit on the value of the property that you may buy. So do your research and make sure that it's right for you. The other thing with the lifetime ISA is that there is a 25% government penalty, which applies if you withdraw the money, if you don't use it towards a property or towards your retirement. Moneybox has it all in the app. It's really, really easy to use and to set up, and it's very nice to see the visibility of getting to your goals. It's not only great for looking at how well you're doing towards your deposit for your first home, but also to see further goals and maybe future goals that you may have as well. They've got loads of free tools and guides to get you started, like their deposit calculator, which is really handy, helping you work out exactly how far you've got to go, and sort of just physically seeing it visibly to tick it off, it makes a massive difference. You can also link your spending cards and do things like roundups. I love a roundup because it helps you get to your money goals without actually realizing. It helps you save money and you don't see that it's sort of coming out of your account. Moneybox are already helping almost 1 million people reach their goals and get their first time home as well. So if you are new to Moneybox and you haven't set it up yet and you haven't got your lifetime ISA set up, I will leave you a link in the description bar and also a QR code up here. So if you're watching on a laptop or a telly, you can simply take a photo of it and it will take you straight through to the Moneybox app to set it up for your own savings. And you can get started for just £1, so it's super easy to do. So as I've said, it's expensive to buy a house, and I thought I'd just run down some of the costs that you need to be aware of so that you're not caught off guard or that you haven't saved for, because it's expensive. So our house was actually very well maintained. It was sort of developed to be sold, so there was very little that needed doing. But what I will say is that you need to make sure you have your emergency fund locked down, because anything can happen. Let's rewind a year. Storm Eunice. The first day we moved in, the corner of the roof tile fell off. Massive thing, great big thing like this, fell off the roof, and 3 other tiles on day 1. So that was expense straight away. So yeah, there's always things that you're going to be paying for when you are a homeowner. At the moment, we need to do some decorating because just the walls get scuffed. We've had the boiler freeze over the really cold point a couple of months ago, or last month. We've also in this room had some water damage on the roof as well, where it was freezing, not through rain, strangely. So there's just always something to pay for when you're a homeowner. It's just, really, really important to have that emergency fund. Okay, so mortgage fee. Ours was built into the product. So ours was £1,000, £999, and it actually gets built into your loan. So you don't sort of have to pay it outright, which is easier. And then you've got survey costs. So your solicitor will run these for you. I think it was about £2,500. And these do all the sort of different background information of your home. It's actually quite interesting to see it when it was built and what work's been done to it, and sort of where the pipes run and where the drainage goes. And we actually spent a really long time looking through all the documents for this. So it's well worth getting a really complex survey. You can maybe get I think there's 3 different types of survey, and you can get the lower one, the basic one. Maybe that's good for sort of new builds or flats, apartments, leasehold buildings, whereas maybe an older property or more complex property, you may well benefit from getting the higher survey. We went for the middle one, I think. Stamp duty. This was painful. This was our highest cost that we were not expecting. We missed out, sadly, on the stamp duty relief fund, which went for, I think, maybe 2 years. Unfortunately, we missed that one, and it was very, very expensive. So make sure you know how much you need to give to the solicitor when you complete the sale, because you don't want to get caught off guard on that one. Removals, this is actually quite an expensive cost. You could obviously do it all yourself. We ended up spending quite a lot of money on the removals, but I'm glad we did that. And it was, you know, we've only done it once. We'll probably not do it again for a long time. So for us, it made sense to do that. And moving in the worst storm that Britain has ever seen, thank goodness, we were not doing it on our own, is all I can say. So consider this if you maybe want to pay for someone to pack up for you, or, you know, whatever the level of removals you want. Or you can save money and get friends and family to help you, but obviously it's just weighing up what works for you. Repairs and decorating. Obviously, as I said, our home was sort of built to be sold, so there wasn't loads to do at all. But, you know, you may be moving in a fixer-upper or something that's just not to your taste and you want to start again, or you may be, you know, submitting plans to extend your home straight away. So there are costs associated with that, so just make sure if it's desperate that you need to get it done, maybe, you know, the kitchen is all pulled out and you need to start again, just make sure that you've got that money there available if you need it. Land registry as well, that actually went through the solicitor, but that is another cost that you need to make sure you know how much that's going to be. And also leasehold as well. If your property is leasehold, if you want to try and buy the freehold, which is sometimes possible, or if you need to extend the leasehold as well, then obviously that's going to cost some money too. So I thought I'd share some tips, the things that we have learned that I didn't know, or that no one had sort of told me. So these are important. So first of all, don't borrow the max that the lender's going to give you if you can't pay it back, because there's no point in having a lovely home that you can't pay the mortgage on. So they may well give you a higher mortgage and you think, ooh, I'm going to go shopping. But if you can't afford to repay it, it's just really not worth it. So only borrow what you can afford to pay back. As with everything, that's just a life lesson. Exchanging was a really surreal thing. When you're sat in the solicitor's office and you are pressing transfer on that large sum of money, it's a really odd feeling, because it's going to the third party. It's not even going to the homeowners. It then goes to their solicitor, who pays them. And it was just really surreal, like that leaving your account. So just one massive tip is make sure you have enough accounts to be able to transfer from, because they have a maximum amount. I don't know if it's 20,000 or 40,000, I can't remember, but you basically need to split your money out if you have a higher deposit than say 30 or 40 grand, because you can't transfer that more than that amount in one day on your bank. So that is something to know about, and no one told me that ever. I had no idea about that, but luckily we had like my account, Stu's account, so yeah, it worked out fine for us. If you are buying a property with a leasehold, then make sure it has a minimum of 80 years on it, otherwise you will not be able to sort of resell it if you want to. Also make sure, if you can, try and go for the freehold and buy it, which will be costly, but yeah, you just need to make sure you can get enough on the lease as possible. This applies to sort of apartments, flats, masonettes, that sort of thing. Final sign off takes longer than you would think. It's painful. I read once that solicitors work to their own timescale, and that is all I can say is the fact. So make sure you're sort of forceful if you need it done by a certain date. If you are relying on a buyer to sell your house, your timings need to work for your buyer, or you're moving out of your rental, make sure you're sort of like give a definitive, like this has to be done by then, and be quite strict with them, but be aware that they do work to their own pace. Ask them to take it off the market once they've agreed it all, just to stop any risk of being gazumped, because that would be devastating. And also you might not want it on the website anymore. So yeah, tell them to take it off the market. Get the fixtures and fittings put onto a list, basically, so you know exactly what you're going to get. So if they move out and you were told that you would get the oven and it's not there, make sure you have it in writing. And also you have the opportunity potentially to buy some things from the previous owners, which we did, and like just things like TVs on the wall, because it just saves time putting up a TV, or if you don't own one, obviously we had extra rooms here, so we bought TV from them, just things like that. So make sure you've got all that, and that can go through the solicitor, and you just add it to the final amount that you pay. You need home insurance before you move in. So that was a weird one, because they sent the documents to this house before we lived here, and the owner was like, you've got your first mail. And I was like, oh, that's so exciting. And it was home insurance documents. Why they sent it here when they knew we didn't live here, I don't know, but you need to have home insurance before you move in, because you need to basically, otherwise you won't get the mortgage on it. As I said, there's different types of surveys, so make sure you get the one that's going to suit you, and check it overload so you don't get any nasty surprises. You may need indemnity insurance, in which case your solicitor can write this up for you, but just check that out, ask them, they'll know what to do, just basically to protect yourself. Also, if you can get a number of the seller, then try and do so. Try and get like a little bit of communication thread with them rather than going direct through the solicitor, because as I said, that's like a third party to have to wait for answers, but also because you'll need to know certain things before you move in, and if you don't get that information, you may be a bit lost when you move in. Things like, where's the stop cock for the water, how to shut the water off, what the fuses mean. We've got like, it's really technical in this house, so there's loads of like tech information that we needed. Things like who their electricity supplier is, you can make sure you exchange that correctly, and the water supplier, any warranties or manufacturer instructions for like the oven or anything like that, the thermostat, how to work that sort of thing, like really basic things, but you might move in and have no idea. Also, like if they have any tins of paint that they could leave behind so you can do touch-ups, and also like if they know where things came from. So for example, we in our garden, that George unfortunately smashed one of the light fixtures, and so luckily we've got a really good relationship with the old owners, so I could just ask her where did it come from and then replace it. So yeah, it's just really nice to have that. And she was so sweet when we moved in, because she actually let us in, because you've got to wait for the keys from the solicitor. And she actually let us in, and she bought us flowers and chocolates for the boys and laid out all the keys and was telling us what does what. And it was just so nice, because she was saying goodbye and she knew that it was going to such a loving family, and we were so grateful to be here. So that was really nice for her to sort of say goodbye, I think. And we still chat now, because like if she gets posed or if I need to ask her questions still, like, how do I work the heating because I'm freezing or it's boiling? And that's my most commonly asked question. I cannot work the heating out still. But yeah, I could go on and on and on about tips for first-time buyers, things we've learned from buying our first home. But I hope this was helpful. Don't forget the links to the Moneybox Lifetime ISA are in the description bar, and I'll pop the QR code on the screen here again for you. You can open an account from as little as £1. So it's a really great way of getting yourself on the property ladder and getting that free money from the government each tax year. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you so soon. 1 year. I'm so thankful to be here still, and yeah, it's gone so fast. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. See you soon. Bye.